U.S. President Donald Trump has said that his administration is considering terminating business with China having to do with cooking oil in retaliation for Beijing refusing to buy U.S. soybeans. On the other hand, China has now accused Trump of having double standards and says that Beijing could introduce countermeasures if the U.S. president imposes additional tariffs. Remember, China has issued new regulations regarding several rare minerals. Under these regulations, any company that wants to buy rare minerals from China and sell them abroad will first have to obtain a license from the Chinese government. On the other hand, Trump has described this decision as hostile. He has warned that if China does not back down, the US will impose new triple-digit tariffs on China. Joining me live on the broadcast is my colleague Aditya. Aditya, we are now hearing, this tussle between China and the US. US is threatening China that it will have a new triple-digit tariff imposed on it if it continues to defy US's instructions.
Well, absolutely, Shivani. We have seen for quite some time this trade war between US and China is going on, and this will definitely have a major impact on the global economy, because since both US and China are the two largest economies of the world, and at this juncture, we have seen some tit for tat measures taken by the Chinese Foreign Ministry. When Trump had announced that he is considering to impose 100% additional tariffs on China, China had retaliated by saying that if America imposes additional tariffs, it will increase the fees for the US ships that are docking on the Chinese waters. So at this juncture, we have seen in the recent months how Chinese companies have also barred the Chinese government has barred the Chinese companies to invest in the United States of America, considering this global tariff war that has been initiated by America. And time and again, Trump has been saying that he will impose additional tariffs on China, whatever, if China does discriminatory trade policy. This is the version of the US President Donald Trump. So at this juncture, there is a clear trade deadlock between the United States and China, and in the times to come, we have seen how US had earlier banned Huawei, a tech giant of China, from making chips in the United States. So this this all-out trade war between US and China is expected to go deeper as the time progresses. Shivani.
Absolutely, Aditya. Thank you so much for those updates. I'm joined by Dr. Sharad Kohli, Senior Economist on the broadcast. Dr. Kohli, thank you so much for joining us in this morning bulletin. Appreciate your time. I want to understand your opinion on this entire story that's developing. Who do you think has the upper hand in this tariff war that's currently ongoing? Because US calls it a hostile move. They imposed the port fees on China first, then China imposed it too on American ships, and now we are seeing that China is also taking action on the rare minerals front. So who do you think has the upper hand?
Good morning, Shivani, to you and NewsX viewers. I think the only upper hand is the fact that the world is going to lose if these two giant economies, these two largest economies, they fight with each other. Well, there is a partly, I would say, war of words, and partly it's converting to action with China stopping to buy soybean from America, and now President Trump threatening to buying cooking oil. So God knows what's cooking in Donald Trump's kitchen. That's very hard to make out because he keeps changing his statements every other day. As far as who's got a stronger hand, I would say that at this point of time, it seems like China has a stronger hand because it controls 60% of the rare earth minerals. There are about 17 rare earth minerals. 60% of that is controlled by China. And 92%, Shivani, of the processing of these rare earth minerals is done in China. So China has and these rare earth minerals are used in everything, from missiles to electronic stuff to everything, just about drones. I think America can be in a very difficult position. Its industry can be in trouble, which is why you find President Trump gives the statement that I'll impose 100% tariffs, and next day he backtracks. No, 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 everything will be okay. I think ultimately America will have to bend down because they will not be able to survive. You go to any store in America, any departmental store selling consumer goods, you will find 70% of them, they originate in China. So the people of America are going to be in neck deep trouble simply because America does not have an alternate supplier. When it imposed tariffs on India, 50%, you had Vietnam, Bangladesh, and some of the other places who could have substituted partly, if not fully. But for the products which China supplies, $688 billion is the bilateral trade between America and China. And it's a heavily lopsided trade in favor of China, more than $500 billion. So I think American people will be in trouble. They will not be able to find substitutes of those products. So I think upper hand I give to China as of now. Whatever sanctions he may impose on the Chinese ships running from here and there. But eventually America will have to bend down. President Donald Trump knows about this, which is why he kept the tariffs in abeyance. Shivani, remember 90 days abeyance when India was slapped with 50% tariffs. China's tariffs were kept in abeyance for 90 days because he knows that if China does arm twisting, if China twists America's tail, I think America will be in trouble at this point of time. But all said and done, I think this is not good for the world. This is not good for the world markets. This is not good for the world's financial markets. This is not good for the supply chains around the world. If one is $30 trillion economy, one is about $20 trillion economy. If these two economies forming more than 40% of the global GDP, if they start fighting with each other on the trade front, I think the world is going to feel the impact. It will have a far-reaching impact across the world. So I hope, wish and pray that sense prevails. The only gainers from this war, Shivani, are the people who trade in gold and silver, because thanks to these tensions, apart from other tensions, it is also weakening the US dollar. Gold and silver are hitting new records. I've been speaking on your channel every day about gold and silver. So those are the only gainers. Rest, everybody is going to be a loser, Shivani.
Absolutely, Dr. Kohli. I think even the markets, which have been volatile for quite some time due to geopolitical considerations as well, but now seeing that these two biggest economies are also, having a go at it, I want to question the entire timing of China actually announcing such major decisions, because US had already proposed these tariffs earlier, the port fees that had come into play, but China is only playing them right now. The announcement comes starting October the 10th. Do you think this also has some political meaning behind it, because in China soon there's a major political gathering that is going to take place. It wants to see the people rallying behind the major political parties over there and because they want to see the entire government protecting their national security and technological development.
Yes, typically, before any major political meet, the countries do take the decisions to appease the local, their political party circles or people in general. China, we all know, is a communist country. It's got an authoritarian government. No protests are allowed. Nobody is allowed to raise voices here and there. But China, typically, Shivani, I have seen, it doesn't give knee-jerk reactions. Unlike President Donald Trump, he gives knee-jerk reactions. He will immediately react, say something, and then backtrack, say something again, and he will again backtrack. But China, I have seen, is a little more pragmatic in response. It absorbs it, studies it, and then comes out with a retaliatory move at the appropriate time. I mean, I see a more mature handling. I'm not trying to side China here, but I see, relatively speaking, a more mature handling by China as compared to America. Well, American president's decisions, we all know, the whole world knows now. In fact, I have formulated a new index here. I call it as a TMI, Trump Mood Index, because that index defines gold and silver prices, it defines stock markets, it defines the direction of the economies around the world. I call it as so TMI is a very volatile index for that matter, whereas China is a little more mature in reacting. But when it reacts very, very strongly, and it hits where it hurts, which is why you see these reactions from President Trump that they are not importing our soybean. Well, soybean is in America is a genetically modified soybean. It forced that on India also. We all know that. And India cannot import soybean because it is GM soybean, and we cannot import GM. Crops are banned. So every country has got their own, and every country has got bargaining, weapons in their armory. Like China's is the rare earth minerals. America is, oil to a certain extent, imports to a certain extent. But eventually, I think this war is going to aggravate. I really don't see, Shivani, any end to this trade war. In fact, if you go to the history, Shivani, behind major geopolitical conflicts, there is always an economic reason. So my fear is that these small economic issues like soybean or like cooking oil, it may look like very, very trivial, but these small conflicts can convert to very big geopolitical tensions. So that's my larger concern, Shivani, as for now.
Absolutely.